the Mile High City, Denver. We have a verified, or 98% verified by my software, that there is a cloaked UFO that was filmed by a bystander. And that's pretty amazing footage I'm going to be showing you shortly, um, from, again, Denver, Colorado. Just as recent as, I believe it was July 11th. I'm sorry, January 11th. We're also going to be showing you some compelling footage out of a well-known farm, a big farm in the El Salvador region in South America. And on that farm, they have 4K night vision, and what they capture is what appears to be a cloaked entity, based on some of the measurements that I've done and others. Um, this appears to be a lot taller than 6 feet tall, and the reactions by the dogs on the property, these are farm dogs that kind of like they keep out to protect the property. Their reaction is pretty compelling in itself, but the footage is also compelling. So, and we also have some information as far as this new task force that Representative Luna is chairing, and some new information about which she's encountered so far. That and much more coming up next on the Human Spectrum. Stick around. So, welcome back to the Human Spectrum, and thank you for joining me today. The first thing we're going to go over is an article from Meritalk, about the latest House Republicans' call for UAP document declassification. So let's run through this quick before we get into our clips. It goes on to say Representative Anna Paulina Luna, R. Florida, chair of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets, and Representative James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, chairman of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, have sent several letters to the national intelligence officials seeking an update on efforts to declassify documents related to unidentified anomalous phenomenon known as UAP, more commonly known as UFOs. The House Republicans said their February 11th letters are in direct response to President Trump's executive order on declassifying records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King, though the order itself doesn't address UAPs. The letters were sent to Energy Secretary Chris Wright, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Lieutenant General Timothy Howe, and Director of National Security Agency Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. In the letters, Representative Luna and Representative Comer emphasized that the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and the Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets are conducting oversight of the declassification of certain records in the public interest, and requested a briefing regarding what documents, if any, are in your possession concerning the existence of unidentified anomalous phenomena. The letters further emphasize that this briefing should be specific and identify all categories of documents, classified or otherwise, in your custody and control. The task force also wants to review these documents and make recommendations on declassification to ensure all applicable orders and laws are being implemented and deliver transparency to the American people. All federal agencies are cooperating with the task force and will provide requested briefings in the coming weeks. As we work to understand the full scope of federal documents related to key national secrets, Representative Luna said in a statement, the task force established in response to the President's executive order declassifying federal secrets will hold its first hearing on March 26th of this year. While some task force efforts may face Democratic opposition, disclosing UAP documents may not be one of them. Members of both parties that the government is concealing agree that the government is concealing critical UAP information and have pushed for more transparency. In recent years, bipartisan efforts in the White House and Senate have advocated for greater UAP transparency for the American people. But despite scathing testimony from former military officials alleging that the government, specifically the Pentagon, is concealing alien technology, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the Pentagon's UFO office, has repeatedly insisted it has found no evidence of alien tech. So I just wanted to give you an update on this article that came from courtesy of Meritalk. So what I do understand also, and I don't have the article on that, is that a lot of these letters that they sent out to these different departments, as mentioned in this article that I just read to you, there is some pushback still. And for example, they sent some letters on, like it said, on February 11th, and as directed by the president, to certain agencies. And what I'm seeing is some political mixing in here. Hence the changes the president's probably making on department heads. Many of you won't agree with it. I'm not saying that I do, but if it gets us to transparency on this issue, I'm all for it. But again, I like I said in my last video, we should do this with a scalpel and not a chainsaw or a machete. So apparently before they made these changes, high up in these different departments, they when they first received the letter from Luna and Comer, asking for the declassification of these files that were mentioned in this article, they received some pushback. And after that happened, there was some, you could see the president did some swift firings. So we'll get into that maybe on a later video, but I just wanted to emphasize that before they made the changes, there was pushback. I'm also hearing from Representative Luna, and it's very, very ominous what I heard and what I read on X. She mentions on the Benny Show that the Epstein files, she's seeing a lot of nefarious activity related to the Epstein files. And there's a lot more to that, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but I do have some information on why she says it's nefarious and very disturbing. Probably because it's going to put a spotlight on certain organizations, certain people. That's common sense. But the other stuff that I've been reading, we'll get into another time. And right now I want to focus on the UAP subject right now, and try and stay away from the political part of this as much as possible, even though, and I do understand that politics plays a part in this. But the most important thing is the key word that she's always talking about, and many others in the UAP sphere, is transparency. We can handle the truth. We can handle a lot of things. But then again, I read another thing about President Carter. Obviously, we know that he witnessed something before he became president of the United States. Then finally, he received some kind of briefing from the CIA that there was a witness in the room that claimed that he actually bowed his head and was in tears. I'm looking into verifying that information. And the reason why they say he was in tears was because what they told them went against his religious beliefs. So that brings us to the theological part of this subject. So I'm going to dig into that part of the Carter thing and bring you more information on that as soon as I get it. So we're going to move right along to some of the more exciting stuff you guys want to see. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and show you the mile-high Denver, Colorado object that was caught in the sky that appeared and actually shows up on camera very well if you have an iPhone that's relatively newer or an Android. Your phone's going to pick these things up at nighttime. You just got to do it, not just listen to me say it. So actually try it. Even if you don't see anything, you'd be surprised what your phone will catch. I always say that. So in this next video, I'm going to show you what this guy filmed at the in the mile-high city of Denver. So let's have a look at that.
Here it is, the light turned on. You see that? What the fuck, man? Watch, it's gonna start looking like it's dropping something out of it. That's fucking weird, man. What the fuck is it, bro? Oh, the light went out. The fuck? The light went out again. And it is super close.
So in that particular clip, you can see that that object started out with cloak. I don't know if it was cloaked or if it was just dark. To me, it looked like it was just dark and no lights were on. So it could be one of ours. It could be reverse engineered technology, or maybe not. Maybe it's like Farsight's talking about. They're showing us bigger ships. They're trying to get our attention. What they call the goody teas. If you follow that route. But what I found interesting is that the light appeared to brighten up very bright and look like a green type hue, and ran it through my software, and he actually recorded this. And it went on for only a few seconds, but still, it's pretty amazing footage, because when the light goes off, you can still see some kind of structure around it. And so I thought that was interesting. Let me know what you think about that one. That was in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. Now what you're going to hear is something that contradicts pretty much what both administrative press secretaries have said about this phenomenon of drones and UAPs and UAS. And Wright-Patterson Air Force Base had a major problem with that. If you guys don't remember, back in January, they had to divert any aircraft that was going to be near or around the base, especially the commercial airlines over 32,000 feet. They were diverting them because of huge activity of UAS activity in the air. And I want you guys to listen to this and let me know what you guys think.
Patterson Tower, med flight 8, 1,900 feet, about 7 miles southwest of the field, like transition your Delta northeastbound.
Med flight 8 Patterson Tower, use extreme caution for heavy UAS movement on the base. Security forces is handling the situation. Suggest at or above 1,700 AGL.
That we will maintain 2,000 and on our transition for med flight 8.
And I gotta keep the lights down so that security forces can see.
Roger that, no problem.
Position approved, sir.
Approved, med flight 8.
Med flight 8 Tower.
Ahead for med flight 8.
Hey, sir, you're still approved through our Class Delta. After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition.
I'm sorry about that. You got stepped on by other traffic. Can you say again?
Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Security Forces is handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta.
Roger that. No problem. Thank you.
All aircraft use extreme caution. Patterson Class Delta is now closed for heavy UAS activity.
So is the press secretary under Trump buying time so they can get more information? Probably. A lot of people are saying that it's just the same old, same old. It's the same thing they're getting from the last administration. If this administration is trying to break through the bureaucracy and the compartmentalized problems, if you will, because there are some of those compartmentalized areas in the government, especially the Pentagon, that are withholding this information. And those are the same ones that are giving pushback to people like Representative Luna and her task force, as recent as yesterday, from what I read. Very interesting, though, because when she came out and said the FAA authorized these flights, but at the same time, you had the other press secretary from the Biden administration saying that they're looking into this in coordination with the FBI, FAA, and many other agencies, including local law enforcement. And they weren't giving us any answers other than they don't believe it's a threat. What I got out of that was they know what they are. There's nothing they can do about it except put up their own drones, because we do have sophisticated drones many years ahead of schedule. We have some technology that's amazing. I can attest to that. But that's the best thing to do. Kind of like what they're talking in politics with Trump flooding the zone. I think in this situation, when they can't do anything about what's happening over this airbase, like Wright-Patterson, like you just heard, they flood it with their own drones, and whether to confuse the people or just to say that we put up our own drones. And then hence you hear from this new press secretary that she said that it was FAA authorized, and even went as far as to say some of these were hobbyist drones. So I don't know if you agree with me or not. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think maybe they had no choice but to say that, because they literally just started this. This task force is new. It's fresh. And although they dived right into it right away, everybody's expecting answers like this. And it's not going to work when you have that much power, when you have literally what I believe to be another covert military within our own government, possibly. And you heard it from the hearings on Capitol Hill, and you hear it all over the internet, social media, and even on the news. But News Nation's done a good job of covering that part of it. So let me know what you think about that. That was actual communications with Wright-Patterson telling other airliners to avoid that area because they were shutting down that airspace because they couldn't control the amount of traffic that they claim that they couldn't identify at the time. Even the FAA said they were investigating this. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think it's a little too early to start throwing stones around, I think. Yeah. So let's move on to the next thing. It's about these dogs reacting, and you're going to see something that looks cloaked. And I'll tell you what I did with this video. It's kind of enhanced, but I'm gonna show it in its raw format, the way it was given. So this is dogs reacting to what appears to be a very tall cloaked object running from left to right on the screen, and the dogs really reacting. harshly toward this thing. And the camera catches this. So let's take a look at this. It's very interesting. So from what I understand, this is a farm that puts out a lot of agricultural products. Um, they're a big farm. They make a lot of money there from what I understand. I don't know the name of the farm. I just know based on the person who sent it to me, and I appreciate it. But let's go over this maybe in slow motion, because this is to me, it's very compelling. There were some shifts in the time, and I think they did that on purpose to bring you back a few seconds so that you can see it again, in case you're wondering if there's missing time. There is no missing time on this. It's the person that gave this to me. He just brought it back a few seconds so that you can see like a bug coming toward the dog later on. But we're going to play this in slow motion, and we're going to do it right here in real time. So let's go to my display capture. And let's get rid of that. And I'm going to go ahead and play this for you again. So let me shut my mic off, and we're going to do some scouring here. So bear with me. It might be nothing. Let me know what you think. This is a farm, so you're not going to have street lights in the area, based on the email. But there appears to be a light that comes on over here. This is a pole that gives electricity to other parts of the farm, but there's no light here. What you're seeing back here is a little bit more of what looks like jungle terrain, and over here is supposed to be just becomes more flat, basically going toward the other side of the farm based on what I understand in the email. So what you're going to see is this thing go across, and I will put it back into its original speed. And for some reason, it might not be anything, let me know what you think. For some reason, I see this cloak thing, and obviously they're reacting very heavily to this thing. And these dogs are like, they want to tear it apart, but this thing's very tall. I mean, I don't know if you know what these things are. You see them in the tropics a lot. I forgot the name of them, but these things grow as high as 10 feet tall. And when this thing goes by, it's pretty tall. So initially we thought it was 6 feet, but we measured, it looks like anywhere between 7 and 10 feet. And when it gets to around this spot here, there seems to be an illumination there. I'm not saying it's Star Trek and they beamed it up or anything, but you never know what it is. I just noticed that it never came back on throughout the rest of the video. So I'll play it in real time here, and you let me know what you think. Is it nothing, or is it just a coincidence that something just lit up in the sky here while this thing made its way that way? So let me know what you think. We're going to play it right from the beginning. And again, take note of how these dogs react to this thing. So, and again, if you see any jumping anywhere around here, I'd say the 120 to 149 mark, it's because he was trying to loop it back for us. So there's no time cut. I found it to be very compelling, watching this thing and the dogs, the way they reacted to it. It seemed like it was over here just hovering, and then it started running. And it looks pretty tall. When it gets to about this point here, you could see these things are already 6 feet tall here. But I estimate it to be between maybe 6 to 8 feet. And then there's this just illumination over here. Might not mean anything, but definitely want your opinion on it. Definitely, because your opinion matters. And I want to hear what you think about this particular clip in the comments. I did run it through software, and like I said before, the software has been upgraded to combat AI as far as finding out whether something is fake or not. The program I have is almost 99.9% good at telling whether something is photoshopped. Right now we're at 85% sure that it's not AI. So with that said, that farmer had very good surveillance equipment, good surveillance cameras. It was in 4K quality, but you're getting it in 1080p right now. Let me know what you think. Definitely very compelling stuff. And again, that was from El Salvador, and this is a farm that produces a lot, and this guy's doing pretty well down there, and he wanted to share this with everyone, and I believe it's also on Twitter now, or X rather. Working on a lot of stuff, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I got a lot more stuff on the way, and more updates on this task force that's trying to get us some answers that we haven't had for decades. So thank you for watching, and have a good day or night wherever you are.
The human spectrum is on the track, y'all.